What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Stand a little taller. Doesn't mean I'm lonely when I'm alone. What doesn't kill you makes you fight.
Hi, I'm Allyson, and this is Kicking Cancer to the Curb. This segment of the show is what I like to refer to as WOW, words of wisdom that I'd like to share with you as you go along your journey in the hopes of helping you get through it. I like to talk to you about what I call D-Day, which is Diagnosis Day. And I picked the word D-Day for obvious reasons. It is a war between you and the cancer, and you're going to fight. You're going to fight till the end, and you're going to win. And you're going to get a support team together, and we are all going to help you get there. So that's why I refer to Diagnosis Day as D-Day. It's like a huge bomb being dropped. For me, when I found out, I felt like I was in a fog. So once I left the doctor's office, I called two of the people that were most important to me, which were my husband and my best friend. And I encourage you to do the same thing. If you can bring somebody with you to the doctor's office, that's even better, to have somebody actually there. But if you're not expecting that kind of news and you do go alone and you can't actually go and physically see someone, you can't drive there to see them and talk to them, and you need to make a phone call, then call somebody who's really close to you. Make sure this person is very supportive, of course, loves you, that's obvious, and is positive. Do not call anybody that has a pessimistic point of view. You need to only hear positive things right now. That's really, really important. And throughout your journey, it's important to surround you with positive people. When I found out the news, I decided at that very moment that I was going to approach this from a positive point of view. That I was not going to let this cancer win, that I was going to fight it, kick it to the curb, and that I was going to keep an open mind and a positive point of view, because I know that is so important in fighting anything or accomplishing anything. So that's what I did. Once I spoke to my husband and my best friend, I was still very nervous and very shocked, but it did help me to hear their words, and it did make me feel a little bit better. So that's the first thing that you need to do. The second thing, you're probably going to go through the 5 stages of grief. You can look this up on the internet. It's Elizabeth Kubler-Ross's 5 Stages of Grief. And the first one that you start with is denial. This is not happening. This could not possibly happen to me. The second one is anger, when you're very upset that it is happening to you. And you may say to yourself, why me? Why now? Why is this happening? When I asked myself that question, I answered with, why not me? It's not like you're being punished for anything you've done. So please never think that. Never think that you have cancer because, you did something wrong. That's not why you get cancer. Anyone can get cancer. Nobody is safe. There's no rhyme or reason. It just happens. So please don't blame yourself in any way or look for any reasons as to why you got the cancer. It's not why you. It's, it just happens. And if that was the case, then why would innocent children get cancer? There's no answer for that. Going on with the stages of grief, you have bargaining next. So you start bargaining maybe with God. I don't know if you believe in a higher power, or maybe you're bargaining with yourself. If I stop smoking, then, please let me live. Or if I stop doing this or doing that, then, you bargain. You basically bargain with yourself or with God or with whoever to make sure that you're going to make it through. After bargaining comes depression or sadness, is when you're realizing that this is here and you're going to, you're going to have to deal with it. And that's a really, really hard stage. And it's okay to feel sad. It's okay to feel all of these things. And there's no order. You may one day feel really angry and the next day feel really sad. And, the next day start your bargaining again. So don't think that there's any schedule, because you're going to be feeling a lot of things all the time. The last stage is acceptance. This is a really important stage. You have to accept the fact that you have the disease. Not give in any way, but to accept that you have it, and to deal with it, to go to your doctor's appointments, to listen to your doctors, to get several opinions, to process it through your own brain. I had a really, really tough time in the beginning of my chemo, and I ended up in the hospital with colitis, which was because of the chemo, and literally I could have died. I mean, colitis, if that seeps out of your intestinal tract, you can die because it's poison. So I was struggling with chemo. I'm like, I'm not doing it anymore, and I am no quitter. I've never been a quitter. And I said, I'm not doing this anymore. It's just, I can't take it. It's too hard. I was so sick. I had no quality of life. And I ended up, like I said, in the hospital. They treated me. I left, and I actually got a different oncologist because my old oncologist left, and the new oncologist put me on a different program and lowered the dose level of my chemo, so it was much easier for my body to process. I mean, it was still tough, but it wasn't like before when I really couldn't do anything. I mean, I was nauseous 24/7. I was just like a waif. I was in a lot of pain and a lot of discomfort, and it was really, really awful. So the new diagnosis of lowering my chemo and doing it every 2 weeks instead of every 3 weeks actually worked for me. And I was talking to one of my really close friends about it, Karen, and she said to me, Allyson, you need to accept the chemo. And I started to think about that, and I was like, she's right. I need to accept the chemo. I need to accept this, and I need to be grateful that I can have chemo, because some people can't have chemo. Some people, live in a place where they don't have good doctors, or they don't have, the kind of medicine that we do. We're so lucky. And I started feeling more grateful about having the chemo and accepting the chemo and knowing that it's working for me to help me kill the cancer, to kill the evil disease. So once I started thinking about it like that, it really helped me. It really turned around how I was feeling. And I would say a prayer every time before my chemo, and I would, say that I was thankful that I was able to receive this. And I just think that really, really, really helped me. The third thing that you can do on D-Day is not come to any conclusions. Don't make any conclusions in your head, because you don't have all the information yet. There's still a lot of tests that you have to go through before you get all of the information. And for you to start thinking this or that is just gonna, cause so much stress and anxiety for you. I found out on a Friday, and I had to wait until Monday. So that whole weekend was really hard for me. The worst weekend of my whole life. Every time I would look over at my children, I would start to well up with tears, because I didn't know where the cancer was, how much I had, if it had metastasized, if it got to other organs. I had no idea. So I was terrified, and I was so sad. And I remember thinking about having to make video recordings for my kids telling them, okay, you know, this is your mommy, this is who I am, this is what I've done, this is what I want for you. And, you know, going through every stage, making these videotapes. But I didn't have all the facts. I didn't know that my cancer, luckily, was just in one spot and that it had not spread, although I did have 2 lymph nodes. So coming to that conclusion by myself without having any information was really painful, and it was not good for my mind or my soul. And luckily I did not have to make those videotapes. So stop yourself from coming to these conclusions. There's a process that I learned a long time ago called thought stopping. And some of you may have heard of this, but when you have a bad thought, you actually say in your mind, or you say it out loud, I'm going to stop that thought. You stop the thought. If it's a bad thought, stop it. Like, if you think, you know, you're going to die, you say, stop that thought. Everything is okay. You need to talk to yourself. You need to talk yourself off the ledge. So stop thought stopping, stop thought stopping is, is helpful. Use that throughout the whole process. Stop bad thoughts from entering your mind. Keep them out. The 4th thing is try to do something that will take your mind off of it. It's going to be in the back of your mind no matter what you do, but giving yourself some relief, even if it's for like an hour, is really helpful. Maybe, you know, a walk or a jog or a yoga class, or if you like to meditate or pray, if you know, go to your church, watching a movie, writing, not about cancer, whatever makes you feel good, taking a long hot bath, playing with your children or visiting somebody, just something that you can do where you do not have to think about your diagnosis for that day, because you're going to have a long time to probably think about that diagnosis. So that's the 4th thing. The 5th thing, and maybe the most important, is do not go on the internet. The internet is very, very dangerous when you do not know what's going on. And you're going to, you know, hear all these statistics. Like my husband came in after being on the internet and says to me, oh, 50% of the people die from colon cancer. I'm like, what? Like, I don't want to hear that. Like, can you please, anything you read on the internet, do not share with me. I do not want to hear that. Now I'm like, oh, I'm 50-50. Well, when it's your life, those are not good odds. So I did not go on the internet, and I told him not to share anything with me that he read on the internet because it was too scary. So I, you know, unless you're going to a blog or you're coming to my show, or, you know, you're doing something where it's not giving you statistics or, you know, scary information, it's not a good place, and it's not valid anyways, because everybody's cancer is different.